All right, it is now time for the Fantasy Show Playoff Week 15 edition. Obviously, the regular season has come to an
Playoffs.
end. Playoffs. We're talking about playoffs? Yes, we are.
Oh, that's not you though.
We will be talking about playoffs. And yes, Zach, as you have pointed out many times today, I did not make the playoffs. Thank you for pointing out the obvious. Congrats to you. Act like you've been there before, Zach. I know it's
Lose
been
with
over
biz,
3 years
also.
since you've been in
It's
this
it.
situation,
Lose
but
with grace, buddy. Lose.
congratulations. Yeah, do it with grace. You don't need to point out my downfall this
Don't be
year.
a sore loser.
I'm not. You're being a sore winner. Anyways, looking at what happened in the final week of the regular season, and we saw Matt pick up another win as he had a strong finish to the end of his season. The last few weeks, he's been putting up some decent points, and again this week, 135 to 96 on my side. We both fall to 5 and 9. Just continued my disastrous end of my season. I believe that was now 6 or 7 straight losses to end the season. Just a disaster ending of the season after my season started off pretty decent at the beginning of the season. I'm not going to really read too much into it as it didn't really matter as Matt had to outscore me by like 100 for me to get last place. So Matt still ends up in last place on points for with 3 people, me, Ernie, and him, all 5 and 9. So unlucky to Matt, but at least he won a few games at the end of the season to get to 5 wins. Usually 5 wins ain't last place. So a little bit unlucky for Matt that 5 wins gets you in dead last this year. I know Zach did not have 5 wins last year. I think he had like 3 or 4. So
Okay, buddy.
anyways, moving on to the more important matchups, we saw Cheese just continue to dominate Rat, 155 to 137. Rat was talking in the party crazy talk the other day about how he wanted to face Cheese in the playoffs in the first round, but I don't know why you would want to do that, Rat, when he beat you in the playoffs last year and he just beat you in the regular season this year. Cheese with another strong performance. Decide Jordan Love, being mediocre. His Lions boys obviously got their combined 28 or
40.
38 huge points. What?
Oh, it's like 30,
Yeah, 38
38.7.
points, so close to combined 40. Shakir with a monster game, 21, as he outdid a Cooper, who only got 15.5. So that's something to watch moving forward. I know Rat, when he made this trade, he was high on Cooper showing out. But if he ain't even outscoring his teammate in Shakir, that's going to be tough moving forward. DK, though, kind of the one area of concern for Cheese going into the playoffs is he has been struggling down the stretch with
DK
another
is
mediocre game.
benched. DK will not be
Benched.
starting.
Wow. Benched going into the playoffs.
The
Wow.
issue is he does not seem to have the upside of some other guys because he's putting up
Yes.
like 8 to 10.
Yep.
While my other guys could get lower than that, but like Mooney could pop off and have a big
Wow.
game. You
So
don't
big
know.
decisions for you
Zay
going into the
Flowers could
playoffs.
pop off, so DK will be back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll
Unless
see.
JSN tears his ACL this week.
Okay, well, Kittle did
DK will
his
be back.
normal thing, Achain did his normal thing, and then obviously the big time prize of last week's waivers, Isaac Garendo. We all knew it was going to happen. Well, anybody that was sensible knew he was going to have a huge game, and of course he did. 26 huge points. It's something about that Kansas or that San Francisco running back. They just love to use him in 2 huge rushing touchdowns. Also got 50 yards receiving on 2 catches. Although he did pick up a little bit of an injury, so we'll see if he
A big
does
injury.
play on a quick
Buddy,
turnaround. He
he
did
should
practice
rest. He
today.
should rest. He should
He
rest.
did practice today,
So
so there
for
is a
this is
chance.
why I needed that bye
Yeah,
because of
well, you
that
got it.
injury. I get the week off. He will be completely fine by the time my next matchup
Okay.
happens.
Yeah, well,
Um,
he may end up playing tomorrow, and then he could injure it further. So,
yeah, I need him to rest.
Oh,
I
that
need him
was
to either be
okay. Well,
fine
he
or
doesn't care
rest.
about your fantasy team, so
So
it sounds to me like you might
But
have a chance of
he
playing.
sounded unconcerned, so I'm not worried. But that's a great pickup for me. Very excited.
Yeah, well, we're not going to
Um,
pat you on the back too much because it was a clear, obvious pickup
yes, yes, it's
that
a clear,
anybody was going to
obvious,
do with the money.
but it's helpful to have.
Yes,
So
it is, and it helped you this week beat Rat. On Rat's side, obviously, it all starts with Josh Allen getting 51
ooh.
huge points from a quarterback position. Just unbelievable game for Josh Allen with 3 rushing touchdowns, 82 yards rushing, 3 passing touchdowns, over 300 yards. Just a all-time great QB fantasy production matchup. Although, it's going to sting Rat that he gets an all-time great quarterback performance, yet it's in a loss. We saw Jamar Chase pop off for 50 earlier this year, and Pusa one-handedly Where, Rat on the other hand, some of his other players did not perform. Jalen Warren under 10. T. Higgins was a huge disappointment that Pusa was hoping would pop off for Rat to beat Cheese, and it didn't happen as he looked MIA in the whole second half, only 5 targets. Brock Bowers came back down to earth with only 8.2 points. I'm sure Rat is happy that that happened now and not in the playoffs, but that's a little bit concerning. You had to start Amir Abdullah, who did nothing, and Devontae Smith just kind of with a mediocre game. So, Rat, your comments after losing again, now still in the playoffs, obviously at 7-7, but losing to Cheese again.
Well, luckily, Warren and Abdul won't start ever again.
Okay.
Abdul already dropped. He's out of there.
Okay.
Higgins, that's probably his worst game of the year so far.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that doesn't continue. And I know Mark Cooper only went 6 for 14, but it looks good that Josh Allen's actually throwing the ball towards him. Watching the game, there were some missed throws and some other stuff, but if he keeps targeting, that's a positive sign. And Josh Allen in big games just likes to have shootouts. So next week they play Detroit.
Yeah.
So I think that could be another great game to build like a 30-piece on or something.
Yes, yeah. Probably not 51 again, but he could have a 30-plus point game.
Brock Bowers, quiet game, but next week they're home. They're going to want to show out better than they did this week, and he's the guy they're going to run through. Because when the Raiders have a bad game, everybody has a bad game on that team.
All right. Well, they are a pretty bad team overall, so I don't know how many games you can count on them having a good game.
Brock Bowers will be back next week. He'll give me a 20-piece next week.
Okay. Interesting. So it sounds like very optimistic for Rat. I mean, he doesn't have to play Cheese next week, so I would feel optimistic if I was him as well, taking his crack at somebody else in the league. Cheese, your comments after securing the bye at 9-5 with a big win over Rat.
I'm glad we secured it because we were in position all season, so I would have been very unhappy if I fell out at the last minute. Right. I think I have a strong team, but there are some. I agree with we said we get the best teams are in the playoffs, so we have no. I think everyone won their way in here.
Yep.
But there are some pretty good teams. We had multiple 9-5 teams, so a lot of good teams.
Yeah. I think it was just way more balanced this year than it's ever been. I mean, there was nobody less than 5 wins in the league, nobody more than 9 wins, so that just makes it really tight. In the years past, we've at least had 1 or 2 teams that get to double-digit wins or 10 wins.
I mean, last year we had only Rat was the leader at 9-5, followed by Bill at 9-5. Pretty balanced last year too.
Yeah.
I
just know in years past there's been some 2 or 3 win teams. There's been some years where we had an 11 win bye or 10 win bye. So it's gotten even tighter the standings as the years go on. It seems to be even closer, which is obviously really good.
So I'll be facing either Zach or
Zombie. We will go over that in a minute with the bracket.
Hopefully no one gets hurt this week, and I feel good.
Yep. All right, moving on to the second matchup that had playoff implications, kind of. It was a long shot for either one of these teams to get the bye, but Pook did take care of Zach, 149-140. Good high-scoring match between these two. I'm sure both teams are feeling confident going into the playoffs with scoring over 140 points. Obviously, Sam Darnold had a monster game for Pook with 34. He's been great all season long and a good pickup at quarterback for Pook this year. Josh Jacobs also had a monster game. Bijan continued to look strong. Jefferson finally had a pop-off game, so that's got to be making Pook feel good going into the playoffs, that it's going to be his time to shine now. Hopkins did okay. Laporta did all right. Really the only downside was Dissy and Westbrook-Akine, who finally had a bad game for Tennessee. But I'm sure Pook moving forward won't be starting them every week as he has McLaurin coming off bye to put in there. On Zach's side, he started Russell Wilson, who just did okay. Chase Brown continues to look like a stud fantasy running back. He's getting used with a lot of targets, with 8 targets, as well as looking good on the ground. He's getting a touchdown almost every week as well, so that's got to be good for Zach moving forward. He had to start Nick Chubb, though, and, that's if Chubb doesn't get a touchdown, he's basically useless for fantasy. Tyreek Hill, though, had a monster game. Zach's going to hope that continues with 28 big points moving into the playoffs. Jameson Williams, okay. Kelsey, kind of mediocre. Chuba Hubbard, though, with a nice game. And Judy pretty strong game considering what he's been doing lately. Another nice one with a touchdown and 17 points. So overall, two really strong teams here in this matchup going into the playoffs. Gonna be interesting to see. Either one of these teams could definitely make a run, in my opinion, to the final or to winning it all. I think both teams are very strong. They both have players that seem to pop every week. It may not be the same guy every week, but they definitely have multiple guys that could easily pop off each week, and I think that makes them dangerous going into the playoffs. Zach, your comment on the loss against Pook, but your feelings going into the playoffs.
Yeah. You can't really feel too down about this loss. 140 good points.
Yep.
It is what it is. Half my team didn't even play.
Yep, that is also true. You had some people on bye with Taylor and Lemar. So yeah, and Sutton. Yeah,
Yep.
I'd be feeling really confident putting them back in there.
Yep. It's going to be a big week this week.
Yes, it will be. All right. Anybody else want to make any comments on this matchup or these teams?
I am glad I'm not on Pook's side of the bracket.
Oh, but you are on Zach's side of the
Team
bracket.
is scary, but as we've seen before,
He's showing me no respect.
Wow, yeah, that was just a complete disrespect for Zach. He said he's happy he's not on Pook's side of the bracket, and then I said, but you are on Zach's side, and he didn't even comment like it was nothing.
No,
wow.
Zach's coming for you, buddy. Zach is a good team, but
Lemar is coming for you.
But Lemar chokes in the big moments. That's why he has ringless. So we'll see.
Okay, but the games Lemar is playing are regular season games, not playoff games.
He's playing for seeding.
Okay. No,
they're not.
They're still playing for playoff. They're only 8-5.
When I see you next week, I will wager you, buddy.
Tyreek Hill might be too busy getting another girl pregnant to play football. So
hey, whatever.
Buddy, he gets them pregnant each month. It doesn't stop him. All right. Moving on then. We won't spend too much time on this as my matchup was kind of irrelevant. Ernie falls to Tyler 129-92. Also kind of ends Ernie's season on a little bit of a downswing. Just could never get on that run of wins that he needed to get into the playoffs. Fall to 5-9. I know he's disappointed with the team. I know talking with him before, he felt like he had a really solid team that could make a run in the playoffs. Unfortunately, he did not get enough regular season wins to get into the playoffs. So that three-headed running back monster that he drafted is kind of going to fall in by the wayside this season, unfortunately for Ernie. On Tyler's side, finishes with a win, strong, but still not the playoffs for Tyler. He made a lot of comments early in the season that this was going to be the year for him, and it wasn't once again. So missing the playoffs again for Tyler at 6-8. I'm sure he'd spin it some way this season on how he got so unlucky or something along those lines. But, the team that he drafted, he made some moves this season. I'll give him credit for that. But overall, when you got a quarterback like Geno as your A1, and then, throughout the season, sometimes his running backs were a disaster besides Mixon, it's going to be tough to overcome and get enough wins when you have some mediocre positions in your lineup. Anybody want to make any comments on these two teams' end of their seasons?
Get these bums off my
Tyler, Tyler had a good effort. He had a good effort.
Okay.
He just got sunk too early.
Yeah, he wasn't a big hole early on and too hard to climb out of.
He kind of reverted to the mean because he's 8-8 or 6-6. But I can't. What the fuck is his record?
6-8, buddy.
6-8. Okay, he reverted. He was almost there, but there's not enough games for him to.
Yep.
Not enough games left in the schedule.
Yep. I guess so.
Get these bums off my screen.
All right. Moving on then to the next one that has two teams in the playoffs. Slaps. He falls to 7-7, but gets in as his team put up a well performance with 133 points. Although Pusa makes a statement that he is one to reckon with 164, goes to 9-5. His team was trying to get enough points to overtake Cheese, but wasn't quite enough as he came about 5 points short of stealing that bye. He needed Jamar Chase to somehow get to overtime and get another chance at the ball. Just an incredible performance from Chase, 45 huge points, 2 touchdowns, 177 yards, and 18 targets and 14 catches. Just unbelievable. He's already had a 50-plus point game this season, and now he adds a 45-point game this season. He was clearly one of the guys this year in the first round. I would say the biggest wide receiver to take this year. Jefferson's been good. Amon-Ra's been pretty good. The earlier wide receivers that were taken, like CD and Tyreek Hill, have not been quite as good. So Chase was clearly the guy, wide receiver this year, to take number one overall. He fell a little bit back to the mid rounds, and that was where Pusa was. So GG's to Pusa on that. I'm sure he'll be hoping Chase can continue this and lead him to the fantasy crown. We'll see. Hopefully he got all his big, huge games out of the way and now has some mediocre ones, because I don't want Pusa to win. A.J. Brown, though, a little bit of a concern. 8 points. Feuding with his quarterback, I think we could say. What else is new? A diva wide receiver causing problems because he's not getting the ball enough. What are you rowing about? There's the clear. Your own Eagles player said it that he's upset with Hurts. Huh? Go ahead.
I think we are fine as a team, and I think they're fine.
Well, yeah,
yes, we do have to fix the passing.
They only have 2 losses. Of course, they're fine as a team. When you win, it all gets pushed under the rug.
I think that passing will be fixed quickly. I think it will be fixed this weekend. I think he has a pop-off game. So,
okay, against the Steelers?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
What is a pop-off game in your
30-plus points.
30-plus points for A.J. Brown?
There is a chance, yes.
Okay.
He shit on them last time, too.
All right. Well, if the offense for the Eagles is going to look amazing when they didn't look that great against Carolina, against the Steelers now, good luck. Good luck with that.
I mean, what is halfway?
Huh?
Never mind. Just keep going. Yeah.
All right. Bucky Irving did get hurt. That's a little bit of a concern for Pusa. We'll see going this week. Remember, Pusa doesn't have a bye, so it could help Rachaad White, though, as he had 25 big points with Irving not playing. So at least he'll know that guy's in there. But then, at his other running back spot, he'll probably have to play what? Either put in Waddle and move Rachaad White up to the second running back spot, or he'll have to roll with Javonte Williams maybe. I don't know. So a little bit of concern for Pusa there, not getting the bye, now having to deal with Bucky Irving's injury. We'll see. Pollard also questionable. We'll see moving forward. But a big win for Pusa. He tried hard to get that bye, just fell a little bit short, but still a great season for him at 9-5 after missing the playoffs last year. Slaps, though, his team did what they needed to do to put up a fight and get himself into the playoffs in that final spot. As we see in our final matchup, Bill falls short in a blowout loss to Zombie, 153-99. I think we all kind of expected not Bill to win this one, but some people were putting some optimism that Bill could have a good week and put up like 130 points. That did not happen, as he only scored 99, and Slaps outscores Bill by about 40, and that's more than enough, as he only needed to outscore him by about 8. So GG's to Slaps getting in there on points for Bill. Strong season, 7-7. A lot of times 7-7 gets you in the playoffs, as he's the only 7-7 team that is not making it on points for. Just a rough end to Bill's season. A lot of injuries in the middle of the season, which hurt his points for on a lot of weeks, scoring low points. So unlucky to him. Zombie, once again, gets into the playoffs. The guy, him and Pook, seem to make it almost every single season. And then they are always ones to not sleep on when it comes to the playoffs. Zombie, it's been a while since he's got that ring back, so I know he's going to be hoping he runs the table. And he doesn't have kind of a tough path, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I'm sure he's feeling confident. When he joins, we'll get his comments on his playoff chances and his team. Anybody want to make any comments on this matchup or these teams? Bill falling short or Zombie making it?
Bill's team, tried.
Yep.
He got the most fucked through injury, so.
Yep. At least I'll give Bill credit. He made the right decision. We all were shitting on him for having AOC in the lineup on the show, and he did on the last minute switch and put Kyler Murray in, and that was the correct decision, as Kyler had 18 and AOC got hurt and only had 6. So at least he made that.
The fact that he got 100 out of that lineup is impressive. So,
Yeah. I mean, Gainwell only got 5. Rat was toning Gainwell last week on the show like he was going to get a touchdown or have a huge game, but the game was close.
Was so fake.
The game was so
That
close.
Eagles
The
game was
Eagles
so
didn't
fake.
get right, as Rat said. They had to
That
keep
Eagles game
fighting.
was fake.
Oh, it was fake.
Yeah,
Why was it
it
fake?
was fake. I don't know. That
Because
was
it
not
wasn't the real Eagles that were supposed to
It
blow
wasn't
out
the
the
real
Panthers.
Eagles. Yes, that was a fake game.
Buddy, if
Well,
the Eagles ever play the Lions win by 30.
I'll say stuff though. Bill definitely got hurt with injuries.
Oh, yeah.
I would say the most around some people. Zombie. Charbonnet. Hopefully, I'm not saying Walker comes back, but if he doesn't have Charbonnet, I would be scared because Brees Hall seems to be
Yeah.
nagging an injury.
Zombie's hoping that Kenneth Walker takes a sweet time coming back.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's up in the air, 50-50.
I think
But if he doesn't have Brees Hall, that doesn't really help because what other running back can he use?
It's looking like Brees Hall might be done for a little bit. I like Char, but I think like if he were to make it like to the finals or to the second round, like Ken Walker will be back by then.
Yeah,
you would think.
should be.
I know,
But maybe
50-50.
Brees Hall is back by then. Good kind of.
So he's
We'll
really
see,
banking
though.
on like things going right for him.
Yeah.
And his team's been also inconsistent all year. Like, and Joker doesn't put it that much every week.
Yeah, it was interesting. He benched Neighbors and went with the 2 tight ends.
Drake London doesn't put
I
up that
mean,
much
it
every
kind of
week.
worked because Neighbors had 14.9. Both his tight ends got double digits. So it kind of was a wash. But, I mean, Zombie's team, it wouldn't surprise me if it makes a run just because some of his guys are real boom or busty, and maybe they boom. But on the other side of it, I think Zach's team is better, which we'll talk about in a second. So looking then at the final standings of the regular season, as we said, Cheese in first place on points for at 9-5 with the bye. Pusa in the second seed at 9-5. Then Pook the third seed at 9-5. Then we have Zach at the 4 seed all by himself at 8-6. Then we have Zombie at the 5 seed on points for at 7-7. Rat as a 6 seed at 7-7, and then Slaps in the 7 seed at 7-7. As we said, Bill was the only 7-win team to not make it on points for of a difference of about 20. It's about 26 points.
26.
So very
Great
close.
math.
So a lot of 26 points throughout a season, that's just maybe 1 or 2 mistaked lineups along the way in the whole season. It's that close and that big of a difference that can make. Tyler at 6-8 in the 9 spot, Ernie at 5-9 at the 10 spot, me in the 11 spot at 5-9, and as we said, Matt in last place at 5-9. We'll see what Matt does towards the end of the season, and I will be seeing what he wants to do. If he wants to do the punishment or he wants to take the buyout. Remember, if he takes the buyout, it's a $200 buyout, and the $200 gets split between all the people that have beat him in the regular season, and that would get split out that way. So we'll see what he does. Maybe he's hit some big betting wins over this month that he'll just take the buyout, or he'll do the challenge, the punishment, which would be on Discord. So we'll see what option he decides to take. He will also be paying for half of the championship rings for the winner of this year's fantasy league as well, for coming in last. All right, looking at waivers real quick for the playoff teams. There was a couple notable players picked up this week. We saw Zach spend his cash for his man, Patrick Taylor, who he's hoping Mr. Guerrero sits out this week. Has a pretty good matchup against the Rams if he is the starter. We'll see what happens. So Guerrero did practice today. I am hoping Guerrero sits because I have Taylor and JV, and I would love to plug him in there. So we'll see what happens. They play tomorrow night, so quick turnaround. We'll see. Obviously, at this point, any San Francisco potential number 1 running back, as we saw with Guerrero last week, you want a piece of. So good pickup, I would say, by Zach, even though nobody else bid anything on him besides Zach. But, what's Fab at this point? What does it matter, right, Zach? I'm sure you're happy to get him.
Who cares about Fab?
Pusa picks up his boy Noah Brown and drops Tyler Bass. He also picked up Michael Wilson and dropped Trey Benson. So he's picking up a bunch of mediocre wide receivers that maybe could have some good weeks in case he needs to play them, I guess. I don't know. Slabs picks up Rare Crowd, who, after talking to him today, he's considering starting right off the waiver wire for the playoffs. We'll see what he decides to do. Rat picks up Tajay Spears, and then we have Will Lutz for Jonathan Brooks, who got hurt. Tim Patrick as well for Slaps, and Keandre Miller for Rat. All a bunch of mediocre, and I don't think it's going to move the needle too much for playoff time, but we'll see what happens with that. Now looking forward to the playoff bracket. As we said, it's now set in the top half of the bracket. Remember, it doesn't get reseeded at all, so whatever bracket side you're on is what you'll stay on. So Cheese, with that bye into the semifinal next week, he is waiting the winner of Zach versus Zombie in that top half. So very interesting matchup there. As you see right now on projected score, Zach projected for 135, Zombie projected for 116. So at the moment, Zach the heavy favorite to go on and face Cheese in the semifinal. Bottom half of the bracket, we see Pusa, the 2 seed, versus Slaps, the 7 seed, and Pook, the 3 seed, versus Rat, the 6 seed. So that is your bottom half brackets. The winners of both those matchups would face each other in the second round. So very interesting sides. I know Cheese already gave his opinion and saying he's glad he's on the top half and not having faced the bottom half. I would tend to agree. I think that Pook versus Rat matchup, avoiding that is good. Both those teams are strong, and one of those teams is going to be out after the first round. So I think that's good for Cheese. The only thing Cheese has to worry about is if Zach does win. I think Zach's team's pretty strong and could knock him out. But I'm happy that Poos is on that bottom side because he's going to face the winner of Pook versus Rat.
That
Yep.
bottom side is a bunch of aids.
Bunch of aids? Okay. Aids are good teams.
No, aids.
How's it aids?
Good teams. Because everyone's gonna be because I don't want to phase Pook. It's like 3 teams I don't want to phase versus like if I phase Zach, it's a good team.
But you don't want to face them because they're aids or because they're good teams?
Because they're gonna be aids to me and they're good teams.
Okay.
Everybody's AIDS in this fucking
You know
league, buddy.
You don't think Zach is going to be AIDS? What?
Zach's gonna forget the name of some of his players and then forget.
Zombie is even AIDS when he gets to fucking the playoffs.
I mean,
I can handle Zombie.
it's interesting that you're worried about AIDS more than worried about whose teams are good enough to beat you. That's a little bit of.
I think my team's good enough to win. I think
Okay.
there's a bunch of teams good enough to win, so the teams have to perform.
You're just like bye-week Bill.
All right. Zach, are you happy with being in the top half, or you wanted to be in the bottom?
Ryan.
Doesn't matter? Okay, I like that mentality. All right. Rat, got a tough first round matchup there, buddy.
I'm going to say it. I honestly think Zach has the strongest team.
Wow. Okay.
One of the strongest teams here.
Hmm.
Maybe. I mean, Cheese equal. Like, I think people are going to sleep on Zach.
So you're happy that you're in the bottom because you think Zach and Cheese are the two strongest teams. Okay, that's
I like
an interesting
Zach
take.
a lot.
Okay,
I could see that. I could agree with that.
Okay.
I want Pook in the final.
Zombie.
Wow, oh Zach. Wow, you want
Zombie's
Pook
too
in the final.
inconsistent.
Calling his shot
Yeah.
right now. Who he wants? He wants Pook in the
Pook.
final.
He's
Oh,
going down, and then
Oh.
If I had the ranked teams, it would go Cheese, Zach, fuck Pook. I'm saying May, Pusa, Pook.
I want Pook in
Wow,
the
Pook
final.
lost.
Make a pass.
Wow, okay. You hear that, Pook? He wants to see you in the final, so you need to beat Rat and then beat the winner of Pusa Slaps, and then Zach, obviously, you got to take care of business and take down Cheese. You know, this is kind of giving me a little bit of last year vibes where the person with the bye felt very confident, and then they lost in the semifinals. So
Yeah. Look,
I feel like the roles are reversed. I feel like Zach is last year's Cheese, and Cheese is last year's Rat. So
Look, I think Tyreek is coming around a perfect time for Zach.
yeah,
And Chase Brown looks like a legitimate top 3 case for the rest of the
You
season.
know who Chase, what's his name, reminds me of? James White.
Oh, okay.
Good old
I
reliable.
thought you were gonna say a running back from Cheese's team last year that led him to the championship.
I question some of Zach's moves, but some of them have been working perfectly.
James
Like the
White's
Hubbard
my
and
hero.
Sutton trade for Jaden Reed, that pretty much worked out.
Yeah, Slaps is already
you guys-
considering benching Jaden Reed
Sutton's
this week.
strong for the playoffs.
You guys were hating
But-
on me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Zach built a strong team.
Yeah, Zach. I'm gonna give Zach credit on, as I said this a few weeks, the last couple
Maybe if you
weeks.
didn't go FK like last year.
I'm going to say Zach, towards the end of the season, he didn't make too many moves during the season, but at the end of the season, trade deadline time, he looked at his team. He said, hey, I'm a contender, so I'm going to take on some buys.
Take a little risk.
And yeah, take on a little risk. Take the buy guys that have the bigger potential for later in the season after their buys to impact my team in a positive way. And they definitely have. So he took on the buys of Chase Brown. He took on the buys of
Cortland
Sutton and Hubbard. He took on those buys, and now they've been looking better since
Like, I'm
they
not
come
saying
back.
Chiefs has the worst team, but if I wanted to not play somebody 3 times, it would probably be Zach. That's the
Okay,
pick. So,
fair enough.
We should
Good
make
luck,
this
Zach.
a 3-game series of playoffs.
That'd be long.
Okay.
That would be killing football players.
All
buddy.
right. Listen, the bottom line of this bracket is I think we have the best 7 teams in the playoffs this year, and that's all you can ask for because it's going to make for some very high, intense, high-scoring, potentially close matchups and make it a very good playoff. So we'll
Who
see.
do you play, Golfer?
I play nobody because I didn't make it, Zach, for the
Oh.
5th time today that you mentioned it. Thank you.
Oh,
As I said, buddy, how about you win with some grace? I'm giving you credit. Keep
Loser.
bringing it up, and I'll hope Cheese slaps the shit out of you next week.
Wow.
Maybe this is why you don't go AFK during the season, Zach.
Yeah.
Just like last season.
Yeah, just think
Doesn't
if you
matter,
tried
my
this
team
hard
is
last
showing
season, you might have.
my team has shown up these next couple weeks.
Oh, all right, I like it. Everybody's feeling pretty confident in here. That's good. So hopefully Zombie joins here soon and he can give his take because I'm sure he's feeling confident as well. All right, so now looking ahead to the playoff matchups, we will start in that top half of the. Actually, no, we're going to wait and save that one for last, hoping that Zombie joins. We'll start with the 2 versus 7 matchup of Pusa, who just missed out on the bye by 5 points, versus Slaps, who he took care of last week. So they did just play last week, and he took care of them pretty handily, but it was a high-scoring game, 160-some to 133. Obviously, he is the favored, 121 to 114 over Slaps. But, Slaps' team is just good enough where if he gets a little luck of some of Pusa's guys not doing as good, and then he gets a couple pop-off games or some boom games, he could pull the upset. It's not without the possibility. Like I said, if Bill made it somehow and was somehow playing Pusa, it would have been a free win. So at least Slaps will be more competitive, I think, as he was last week. Slaps has the potential to put up 130, 140, 150, and maybe that's enough. Pusa has Hurts against Pittsburgh. Obviously, Pittsburgh defense good. Rat seems to think they're going to just bombshell Pittsburgh's defense. So we'll see. If that happens, then obviously that's big for Pusa having Hurts and Brown. We'll see. Bucky Irving, if he's good to go, did he practice today or what's the... Nope, he sits out of practice. It is only Wednesday, so we'll see if he practices the next 2 days. Against the Chargers, though, Chargers good defense, so not the greatest of matchups. Tony Pollard against Cincinnati, that is a good matchup as Cincinnati is.
Oh, isn't he hurt? He didn't practice.
He is banged up. Did he not? Yeah, he missed practice as well. And Rat now has Tajay Spears, so he doesn't have the backup. So that'll be interesting to see. It is only Wednesday, though. We got to keep that in mind. I'd be surprised if they don't play, but we'll see. Cincinnati, good defense to run on as they just gave up 130 to Dowdle on Monday night. So it should be good, assuming he plays. Chase against Tennessee, obviously. Tennessee's horrible, so I expect another big game from Chase. I don't know, though, if he's going to get that 40-50. You need the game to be close and like a back-and-forth type game for Chase to get those 50 and 40-point games. I think Cincinnati will take care of business against Tennessee. I think Tennessee's only chance of winning or keeping it close is if they somehow stop Cincinnati and keep it low scoring, which I don't think they will do. Devontae Adams, who's been coming alive a little bit with touchdowns recently against Jacksonville. Good matchup for Pusa there. Tucker Kraft against Seattle on Sunday night. Big game there between Green Bay and Seattle. A.J. Brown against Pittsburgh, as he said. Right now has also Rachaad White in there against the Chargers. So I don't love the 2 Tampa Bay running backs this week against that Chargers defense. Obviously, if Bucky Irving's out, then Rachaad White gets a little bit of boost as he'll get more run. Fairbairn against Miami. So let's just assume Bucky Irving is out. Then he's looking at what? Waddle versus Houston or Gervonta Williams against the Colts? I don't know. There's a little bit of a concern. I think Slaps needs to be hoping for Bucky Irving to be out Or maybe he should probably be hoping for him to play, but then he doesn't get a lot of play, so then Pusa starts them both, and then maybe that just duds Bucky Irving like it was last week. I think that's the route for Slaps. On Slaps' side, Burrow against Tennessee. Burrow's been on fire. Najee Harris against Philly. Tough matchup there, but Najee's been getting the touches and getting the some good points recently. It's good to see Slaps putting him in there, even though it is a tough matchup. Kyron Williams tomorrow night in that Rams versus 49ers game, so big game and he needs a big performance from Kyron to get him started. 20 plus points would be happy for Slaps to get him started. Jawan Jennings after his monster game also on Thursday night. So Thursday night game is a huge game in this matchup. If Slaps wants to have any chance, he needs to get two strong performances from these two guys that are both capable of putting up 20 plus points tomorrow night. Jayden Reed in there at the moment on Sunday night against the Seattle. He was debating benching him earlier today in the party, so we'll see what he decides to do with Slaps. You never know. He saw the horrible goose egg this past week and just didn't even realize the 19 the week before. So we'll see which, usually with Slaps, if you put up a goose egg last week, you're out of the lineup for this week. But we'll see what he does. Hawkinson on Monday night, in case it matters, against Chicago, and Allen on Monday night against Minnesota. So he's got 2 Thursday and 2 Monday night guys. Rico Dowdle against Carolina is a very good matchup, so you should like that as he's been running well. And Sanders against Houston. It's an interesting matchup when you break down the two lineups. There's some potential for Slaps if he gets off to a strong start tomorrow to make this a game. Obviously, I'm biased. I want Pusa to lose, so the sooner he loses, the better for my money. So I'm going to take Slaps in a bias pick. Even though Pusa's the favorite, I'm going to say Slaps gets the first round playoff upset and beats them with some huge performances from Kyron Williams and Jennings tomorrow night. And then Monday night, it's a shootout somehow between Minnesota and Chicago, and he brings it home and steals and ends Pusa's season. Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
It was very tough. I want to say Pusa, but I think it comes down to the injuries. Yes. I think if Pollard is fine, I think everybody's fine, he cruises to a victory.
Okay.
But I think if he's forced to replace running backs, but I'll take Pusa.
Okay.
So we don't know. We're going to assume everybody's going to.
All right, can you move your mic a little closer?
Sorry, we're going to assume everybody's playing for now. So
okay.
Pusa until I hear otherwise.
All right, Rat.
I'm going to have to say Pusa also. I think Keenan Allen and TJ Hawkinson are going to disappoint on Monday night and not give as much as he wants. And then I think it's going to come down to Slaps debating over himself because he does it a lot. And I don't think he starts Ray McLeod. I mean, he's the third wide receiver in that team, and Jayden Reed has been so relied on. So I don't know if Slaps makes the wrong decision, he's fucked. But I'm going to take Pusa in a 20-point win.
20-point win.
It's going to come down to Slaps making the right line decision. So I think he overthinks too much.
Yeah, well, at the moment he has Jayden Reed in there.
Yeah, so hopefully he keeps him in. I think the right play would keep him in.
Okay. All right. Well, Zach, who's winning this matchup between Slaps and Pusa?
Well, both these teams are, dog shit. I believe it will be a tie.
Okay. A tie. Okay. So in that case, I think it would go off. It's either going off a points for or head-to-head record, which I think Pusa would have the advantage of.
In that case,
so
it would be Pusa.
All right. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. Hopefully, Slaps can just outright win. We don't need no aids on a tie.
Hello.
All right. Well, it's unfortunate that Pusa, I really thought Pusa would be here tonight at the show because he just beat Slaps last week. He came just short of the bye. His team's looking good. I thought he'd be bragging all over the place about how he's going to win it all.
We are going to get Friday morning, we're gonna get a message. GG Pusa, you win.
Yep,
I'm
we will
cooked.
get
My
that.
season's
Well,
over.
will we get
Um,
that? Let's say they both put up 20 points each tomorrow. You think he's
Slaps will
gonna
say
do
that's
that
not.
still on
Slaps
Friday?
is gonna be like, that's
It's
not
not
enough.
enough.
I need a bajillion points.
That
I need
is
so many
true. It's
points.
never enough for Slaps. Even when he was projected
Um,
to outscore Bill by like 30 this past week on Sunday, he was still saying, "GG Bill, you got it." It's never enough for Slaps. Never enough. But that's what makes Slaps Slaps. So good luck to both those two teams. Come on, Slaps, bring it home for me. I got money on the line. I need you to knock Pusa out as quick as possible. We don't want Pusa getting any momentum going to the further rounds. Moving on then to the next matchup of that bottom half of the bracket to take on the winner of Slaps vs. Pusa. We have Pook versus Rat. So a big time battle. I think this is the biggest marquee, biggest matchup I'm looking forward to see, as both these teams are very strong on that bottom side of the bracket. Pook right now, slight underdog to Rat's team, 133 to 124. So at the moment, Rat has the 51-point man Josh Allen against Detroit. So much tougher defense this week, much better team than the Rams. We'll see if he still makes it a shootout type game versus the Lions, who are a little hurt on defense. So it could easily be a shootout type game. So expect still a very good game for Allen. Nowhere near 51 points though. James Conner against New England, pretty good matchup there for him, as he's been a really good running back all year. Brian Robinson against the Saints also should be pretty decent. Cooper against Detroit, so we'll see if maybe this is Cooper's big breakout game. Nico Collins back in there off the bye against Miami, so should be a good game for Nico versus Tyreek Hill. Brock Bowers on Monday night, so that is a good thing for Rat that he has his star man on Monday night just in case it's close coming down to Monday night. Bowers always has that boom potential to put up 20-30 that could maybe seal the deal for Rat and get him the win against Pook potentially. T. Higgins against Tennessee. I guess you could say, well, he didn't get nothing last week, so he's due for a bigger game this week, and I'm sure they'll maybe try to get him some more targets this week after not getting them much last week. Kenneth Walker on Sunday night, assuming he goes. Did he practice today? He's considered day-to-day.
I'm giving it a 50-50. He plays, and if it doesn't...
The guy is glass body. When he had an injury earlier in the
but
season, it was an injury that he said after the game he was fine, and then he missed 3 more weeks after that.
I think there's one coach that doesn't really clarify injuries, and that's Kyle Shanahan. So I'll see how this rolls, but there's a chance.
Well, Kyle, what?
the wrong coach, buddy.
Kyle Shanahan isn't his coach.
Shanahan. No, I'm saying there's only one coach that really doesn't tell everybody about the injury history, and I think there's a chance Walker plays.
I will say to Rat that DK's had multiple weeks this year where he didn't practice, but he still played.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not going to play.
No,
I'm just saying you can't really take what the running back is saying.
I say there's a 50-50.
Because the running back has said before this season that he's fine, and then he misses like 3 weeks. So
I think there's a 50-50.
Okay. And then Boswell against the Eagles. On Pook's side, rolling again with Sam Darnold on Monday night. So they both have Monday night players. There is 2 Monday night games this week, which just makes it even worse for the fantasy playoffs first week. 2 Monday night football games. Why the fuck, NFL, are we doing 2 Monday night football games this late into the season? I don't understand the scheduling this year, along with the buys. So many buys last week. I just don't get it. Josh Jacobs against Seattle on Sunday night. Bijan against the Raiders on Monday night. So he's got 2 Monday night players to Rats 1. Interesting. So this matchup probably comes down to Monday night. DeAndre Hopkins against Cleveland should be decent. Although with the Chiefs offense, you never know lately. Jefferson on Monday. Wow, 3 Monday night players. So it's coming down to Monday night on probably... it's going to be probably with Rat in the lead, and then Pook's going to need his big boys, Bijan, Jefferson, and Darnold, to come through. Laporta against Buffalo. Demario Douglas, so he's sticking with him. I'm a little surprised he's sticking with him after, 6 points last week, 9.9 3 weeks ago, only 11. It's not like he's been doing too much, 9, 9, 11, and 6, but I guess Pook's happy with that, as he still has him in there, and he's playing him over... Keeney, Ferguson, or Bigsby, I guess. I mean, it's kind of a rough last flex option for Pook, so I guess that's why he's rolling with them. Scary Terry back in there, though, off bye against the Saints, and Moody tomorrow night, so he does have one Thursday night player to get him started. We'll see how much Moody gets tomorrow night. I think this one's going to be the closest matchup of the week. I think it's going to come right down to the end on Monday Night Football where they're both going to be sweating it. That Chicago-Minnesota game, it could go one of two ways. It could be the ugly slugfest that both those defenses sometimes get into, especially Minnesota. Sometimes they have some ugly slugfest games with their defense playing good. Or it could be the Minnesota of last week where they put up 42 points and they pop off. Chicago just got blitzed by the 49ers this past week, so it's not like their defense is playing that well. So I don't know. That matchup could be a very good one for Pook with his Minnesota connection. And then obviously Bijan against the Raiders. That's going to be the only thing. I mean, the Falcons desperately need a win, so they're going all out, and I think Bijan has a big game. On Rat's side, though, I could see Bowers with a big bounce-back game as well, but will it be enough? I don't know. I mean, this really could come down to the T. Higgins versus Demario Douglas. They both had some bad games these past weeks. If Kenneth Walker doesn't play, then I think that hurts Rat because you're starting Devontae Smith against Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean that's still a really good option. So Kenneth Walker's not as big of an issue for you. I think it really just comes down to T. Higgins and Demario Douglas. Which one, does one of them have a pop-off game and make the difference?
Devontae Smith would be better than Demario Douglas.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not. You're going to start T. Higgins. I'm saying if Kenneth Walker misses, it's not as big of a deal for you because you have Devontae Smith. I'm saying if T. Higgins has a big bounce back week, I think Rat wins. If he doesn't, along with maybe Amari Cooper disappointing or something, with Allen not doing nearly as much as last week, then I think Pook wins. But at the moment, I will take Rat in a very close one, just barely. We also have to remember, I guess the good news is for Pook, he doesn't have any injuries at the moment in his lineup, so he doesn't need to worry about waking up at 1 o'clock on Sunday to make sure his lineup is set. It looks like this will be his lineup, unless he makes a change with Douglas. So at least you don't have to worry about Pook putting in a player that's out for the playoffs because he oversleeps. But I'm going to take Rat in a close one, depending on those other situations. Cheese, who's winning this matchup?
This is tough. This is a real tough one. I kind of want to say Rat just because a lot better matchups. Josh Allen's going to go sicko mode again. And then Ken Walker's in. Charb looked great, so if Ken Walker's getting those points, it's real solid. Not Smith is a solid option. I could easily see Pook winning this, but I just think I don't really love Demario Douglas, and then Laporta can also be another dud for Laporta running back game. And then Jefferson, he had a great game, but that's his best game in literal months.
Yeah, so that could mean he's trending upward though. I mean, that Minnesota offense looked great last week.
Could be. They also play Chicago, so matchup. It could be just they bench everybody in the third quarter type of deal. So.
All right, so you're taking Rat.
I think Rat pulls it out.
Okay. Zach?
Give me Pook in the finals.
Oh, all right. So you're rooting for Pook. All right, interesting. All right, Rat, are you taking care of business versus Pook? I know you probably don't want to lose in the playoffs to Pook in the first round. I'm sure he'd give you some shit for that.
Do not want to lose to my boy Pook.
Your boy Pook. Okay.
My boy Pook, my Philly boy Pook. I do like his team. It's a little scary, but I get it done. And Nico Collins is back this week with a big game. Josh Allen, I'm not saying he puts up 51. Obviously, he's not going to do that again. But I think that the Bills have a good shot of winning that game, and he's going to – everything rolls through Josh Allen and the Bills, That's how the Bills roll. Mm-hmm. And Brian Robinson, I really like his matchup this week. I think he has a good upside for a couple touchdowns against the Saints.
Okay.
And then Brock Bowers, bounce-back game, Monday night. Me and Pook are going to be, let me think of the score, what it would be. I'll be up about 60-ish, I would say around there.
Okay. All
because
right.
he has 3 Monday night players. And Sam Darnold, Jefferson, who else does he have? Monday night.
Bijan.
Bijan. Yeah, they give him around like 80, but Brock Bowers comes in with a 25 bomb.
So you win
And me
by
and Puke have
5.
we have a very close
Okay.
matchup, and sadly, one of us has to go home.
Okay. All right, interesting analysis there. Could be. We'll
That's it.
see. Like I said, I will be interested on Monday night to see this one, as I think it will come down to the wire. All right, moving on. Jesus, I fucking delayed 30 minutes and waited an hour for Zombie, and he's still not here. So I even DM'd him and said, "Do I need to do it late again so you can join midway through?" And he said yes. We'll see if he
He
joins. But
said
at
he
the
DM'd
moment,
me 5 minutes.
huh?
He said 5 minutes
When was
at
that?
9:21.
Okay, so he should be coming any minute now. All right, perfect timing. We have Zach versus Zombie in a matchup of the top half of the bracket. Winner goes to play Cheese in the second round. At the moment, Zach is a heavy favorite. Huge total for Zach's team, 135 to 116 at the moment. Zach has Lemar back off bye versus the Giants. Great matchup there. The only thing Zach's got to worry about is the Ravens winning too much and benching them in the second half. Chase Brown against Tennessee also should be very good, as he's just been a beast, as we talked about earlier. Jonathan Taylor back off bye versus Denver. A little bit of a tough matchup, but Taylor gets the carries and workload to make it good. Tyreek Hill against Houston after his monster game. Houston, this game has potential to be a shootout type game. Houston versus Miami. Both teams need to win. Nico versus Hill. Maybe that's kind of a pop-off back and forth
Air
game.
it out, buddy. Air it
Yeah.
out.
Cortland Sutton back in the lineup against the Colts. Good matchup there. Should be another good game for Sutton. Travis Kelce against Cleveland. About 10 points last week. We'll see if they hit up Kelce a little bit more in this game. One thing about the Chiefs, they're in a close game every week, no matter who they play. So Cleveland's been a little feisty lately. So maybe the game is kind of a back and forth game again, and that can help Kelce. Hubbard versus Dallas should be a very good matchup, as Dallas defense is just horrid, and Chubbard has been getting the workload now, especially with Brooks out as well. Judy against Kansas City, so sticking with Jerry Judy, who's been paying off for Zach the last few weeks against the Kansas City defense. Daniel Carlson, now life after Tucker. How did it go last week? I completely forgot about that.
Great.
6.2 points.
He didn't miss.
He didn't miss any. He just didn't get many opportunities.
He didn't miss. That's all we need.
All right, so Zach's happy with his life after Tucker. Daniel Carlson against Atlanta. All right, on Zombie's side, he's got Justin Herbert, who did get a little banged up in that game last week against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's defense not very good, so maybe Herbert has a nice game. We'll see how healthy he is. Does Zombie have another option? It's Drake May, I guess, if for some reason Herbert misses. I don't think he will, though. Charbonnet on Sunday night against Green Bay. That's interesting because it is a Sunday night game, so if they don't get clarification news on Kenneth Walker until later in the day,
I'm going to be honest. I don't think Zombie has his actual set lineup that he wants.
Well, no, probably not, but that's why I'm looking at his bench right now.
True.
Because his options, I mean, he probably can't put Justice Hill in because he might not know by 1
if Brees
o'clock.
Hall is a no-go, then it's kind of hard to roll with anybody.
Well, yeah, but Brees Hall plays at 1 o'clock, so he may not have total clarification on if Sharp's the starter or if Brees Hall, like let's say Brees Hall's playing at 1 o'clock. Are you throwing Brees Hall in, or are you, if Charbonnet looks to be the starter, who are you starting, Charbonnet or Brees Hall, if they're both starting?
Hard choices.
It's a tough choice.
Hey, wasn't Brees Hall the second overall pick?
It was, but he hasn't been doing, too much lately, and he's banged up.
Start him.
I mean, he'll start him, but who is he taking out? Who is he taking out is the question.
I think he will be ruled out before Sunday.
Oh, so you think Zombie will get an easy decision then?
I think Zombie will get bailed.
But then Zombie could still get fucked because then let's say at 4 o'clock Kenneth Walker's ruled to play. Then, then does he go with one of these other bum running backs on his bench, or does he just hope that Charbonnet gets 50% and they don't full load Kenneth Walker? I don't know. Tough decisions there for Zombie. We'll see how hard it is on him, or if they make it clear with Walker. Maybe they rule Walker out earlier, or they rule Brees Hall in earlier, so he knows what to do. Aaron Jones on Monday night, though. He will definitely be going with him on Monday night. Should be decent. Cooper Kupp tomorrow night, so Zach will be rooting against Cooper Kupp and hoping it's a Puka Nacua night tomorrow night against the 49ers. Drake London on Monday night as well, so Zombie has multiple Monday night players. He has Sunday night player. He has Thursday player. Zach has all straight Sunday players except Daniel Carlson on Monday night.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jonnu in there, so Zombie at the moment sticking with 2 tight ends still. Jonnu against Houston and Njoku against Kansas City. Like we said, he may not have totally set his lineup yet. See if he sticks with that or if he puts in Neighbors back in. Baltimore, though, very tough matchup. And he's a little banged up. Brian Thomas against the Jets, also not the greatest, especially with Jacksonville's quarterback situation. And Dicker on Sunday against Tampa Bay. I'm going to take Zach. I think there's a reason Sleeper has such a big blowout. I think Zach's team is in a way more better position of all popping off, all on an upswing. Nobody really banged up too much. Has got a full lineup with some good situations like Hubbard now being the full guy with no Brooks. Judy's been on the upswing. Sutton's been playing really great. Hill had a great game last week on the upswing. Chase Brown is dominant. He's got a bunch of great situations and their roles are all clean. Where Zombie has to worry about Walker with Charbonnet or Breece Hall. Is he going to play because he's hurt? Neighbors against Baltimore. I mean, the Giants could get shut out in that game against Baltimore. It's just a horrible matchup. And, does he roll with the 2 tight ends? Does that work again? Because it just worked last week. It's just a lot more question marks for Zombie's team. A lot more guys that aren't clear cut to pop off. Where Zach on the other side is way more clear cut to pop off. And I think this is going to be the biggest blowout of the first round matchups. I think Zach wins by about 25 to 30, somewhere in there. I think Zombie puts up over 115, but I think Zach has a really good week this week. Cheese, who's winning?
I think Zach is the favorite, and he will win.
Okay.
I just think that Zombie is kind of getting his running backs. He has one backup that's his running backs are in shambles. So Zach's team we need to literally everybody has their worst weeks. I think for Zombie to win.
Okay.
And he also has some. I mean, Zach has some okay matchups. I don't think he has elite matchups, but definitely better than Zombie.
All right. Rat.
Zach pretty easily. Like you said, Zombie has issues to worry about. The one game the Jets are going to be good this year, it's got to be against Mac Jones, right? And then
you would think
you got Jonnu Smith. I mean, he's been a good tight end, but Miami really needs a win this week, and I think they're going to roll through Tyreek Hill and Waddle. And then Cooper Kupp's tomorrow. It's going to be interesting with that game because Tyron Williams has been the guy when they play San Fran all the time.
Yeah.
So Cooper Kupp might get less targets and stuff, but I think Zach by 25 to 30.
Wow, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, Kupp had 20 last week. He's
and
had
then
20
Neighbors,
Baltimore
sucks at the passing game, but
can you
Tommy
trust
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito, yeah, that's
I don't know. There's a bunch.
It should be an okay matchup, but with that quarterback,
it's not even his players that are injured.
It's situations.
It's their quarterbacks and their other team members.
Zach, I mean, like I said, you look at Zach's team, it's all clear situation. Chase Brown getting in front of the ball. Lemar, we all know what he does with the ball. He runs it, throws it, everything. Taylor
Sutton's
is getting 20-plus carries.
Denver,
yep.
Easily.
Sutton's the top guy, no doubt about it. Tyreek Hill's obviously coming on.
Jonathan Brooks just got hurt.
Yep. And Judy even is seeming to be the number one guy.
A lot of clear things.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I think could be a blowout for Zach this week. Zach, is it going to be any tough week this week for you, or are you taking care of Zombie?
Golfer, I believe that is the first time this whole year that you've picked me, buddy.
That's not true. I guarantee we could go back and look.
Always hating on my team.
Keep the grudge going. Good Lord.
This week, you got it right.
Okay.
I will be beating Zombie, and it won't even be hard. Give me Pook in that final.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. All right.
I'm
Well,
trying to get
hopefully
him in here.
Zombie
Hold on.
joins soon and we can go over. But in the meantime, real quickly, while we stall a little bit, I just want to wrap up the Survivor Pick'em for this season. It was a little tight coming down to the wire between three teams. And there was an opportunity as Zach went 0 for 2. He waited and eventually took the bumfuck Bills, and of course, in bumfuck fashion, they let him down with a loss. And he had to take me, and I lost. So that was negative 2 points for Zach. If only Bill would have known that Zach was going to lose both things, he could have just took any NFL team to win, and he would have won the pick'em. But he didn't. He took the Bears to try to get the extra points, and they lost. Rat also had to take the Raiders. They lost. So the final standings for this look like this. Zach finished with 30 points. Bill with 29 points, lost by 1 point, unfortunately. And then Rat in third with 28 points, 2 points behind Zach. So GG's. Zach's already been paid on that, and GG's to him on winning that this season.
Here's Zombie.
Bring this back next week. All right, Zombie. We just went over the playoff matchups. I'd like to give your thoughts on all the different playoff matchups. So let's start with Pusa versus Slaps in the bottom half of the bracket. Who do you have winning between Pusa and Slaps in the first round?
First off, how did these two motherfuckers even make the playoffs?
Oh, wow. Pusa was
Pusa's
5
second
points off of
place.
the bye. 5 points for. He would have had the bye, and you're calling it trash?
Listen, Pusa finally
like
for
that.
what? Isn't that ironic? The first year Pusa doesn't use numbers and he makes the playoffs.
Well, he
again
claimed he
after
wasn't
all those-
using his
Yeah,
numbers
we need a
last year.
Zombie at every show. This
Claimed-
guy talks more shit than me.
After all those trash years with his numbers, now
Well, he
makes
claimed
the
he wasn't
playoffs.
using them last year, but I don't know. If
Somebody
that's
else is using his numbers now.
Yeah, well, he took some
Listen,
Eagles and Chase.
Slaps is like that Make-A-Wish kid that got in and is just
Wow.
getting to see his favorite.
Wow, you're not.
kid.
Hold on. He's not going to like this
Favorite
because he
celebrity.
wanted me to give him a lot of credit this week on his great comeback. He was in dead last at one point. He looked like his season was over. And then he rolled off, like 5 straight wins to make it into the playoffs? After he made some good trades? I mean, you're
was
calling him a
inevitable.
Make-A-Wish
Yeah.
kid, Zombie?
Yeah, I mean, didn't he lose? What's his name for the year? Who did he lose for the year? I think he lost someone.
He
I
didn't
mean,
lose Pickens.
Nakua got hurt
Not for
early
the
on,
year.
and he traded him away.
Oh yeah,
Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins.
He traded for Dobbins later, and he got hurt. And he
yeah,
lost.
like a lot of
You
the
gave him
trades
Juwan
he made,
Jennings.
like
Yeah, you gave him Jawan
he
Jennings.
got lucky on.
But although
Yeah.
you got Sharp,
Lucky.
who's been good.
A lot of the trades he got or he made, he like got very fortunate that his players started overperforming and got him to the
Yeah, I mean
playoffs.
that trade he made with Pook, I don't think anybody thought Sutton and the Chuba were gonna pop off like they did the next few weeks, and that's what started his whole turnaround. Was after he made that trade and they popped off for like 3 straight weeks. But I mean, call him Make-A-Wish. I think that's a little bit disrespectful.
All I'm saying is that Pusa has got the better team. I think Slaps should be proud of it that he even got here.
Zombie,
Okay,
you should be
so
I
you're
think
taking
Pusa's
here,
moving
buddy, 'cause
on.
this is as far
Okay.
as you're gonna get. You're going
taking
down,
Pusa.
bitch.
All right.
Zach,
All
shut
right,
the
and the
fuck up.
second
Fuck
match,
up.
second matchup of the
Fuck
bottom
up.
half. I'll be curious to get your thoughts on this one.
Oh, boy.
Pook versus Rat. What do you see in this match?
Oh, boy.
Oh, this is a battle of two guys I don't want to see win.
Wow.
Well, luckily for you, one of them's losing.
The Battle of Philly.
You don't want to see him what?
He doesn't want to see him win.
Oh.
All right.
True.
So who's losing and who's winning?
I'm shy you're picking Poogie after all these years.
Hello.
He's thinking.
His phone just
Give me
disconnected.
Pook in the final. Give me
I
Pook in
think
the
he-
final.
Connection issue maybe.
Golfer, can you apologize to Poogie so he grows up?
Apologize for what?
Just apologize and call him the greatest FPS shooter of all time.
Why the fuck would I lie to him? The little guy's got to get his freaking backbone and realize that not everything is freaking Kamala roses
Oh
and
my
daisies.
God.
He wants everything just to be complimented to him, and that's not how the real world works. Pusa, the
I'll
game
tell him- I'll
is
tell
like
him to
Valorant.
apologize.
I don't ever hear you bragging about your Valorant skills. So for me to say you're probably going to be horrible at the game, and not like it is just an honest thing. Now play the game and prove me wrong.
Zombie's batteries died.
Jesus, can he get new batteries?
That's fucking. No wonder.
Have
he's
him
on
go
the
on
show.
his phone or something. I was just getting good with Zombie and making his predictions. Can he hurry up? Here,
He said
I will
batteries.
apologize to Pusa for assuming he would be bad. But that's all he's getting out of me. I'm not fucking going all out.
This fucking Crocky bitch. Stupid fucking Crocky.
He's gonna play the first game and get like 100 damage.
Oh, I'm gonna give him so much shit. He lasts more than one game.
Wait, hello, I'm back.
Hello,
Fuck-
thank
fucking
God.
batteries.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you don't like either of these teams, but who is winning
Fantasy games are
between Pook and
Listen, all season long, all I've heard from Fake Red is his boy Nico Collins hurt and all this bullshit.
Nico's revenge tour?
So, yeah, he's finally got him back.
Yep.
Pook's got, Jesus, he's got fucking.
Donald Trump.
Wait, he's got Darnold.
I mean,
against-
you can't shit on Darnold. He got like fucking 36 points, 34 points last week.
I think that it's gonna be close,
Yep.
as much as I hate to say, but I'm gonna go with my boy Pook.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
This guy.
Because I want to face him again.
Wow. A lot of
You
people
ain't
want to
gonna
face
face
Pook
him
in the
again.
finals. Zach
You ain't
earlier
getting to the
made
finals,
the same
buddy.
comments. He says he wants
Robbie.
to see Pook in the finals. So
You
that's
ain't
not
making
two
no
people.
finals, buddy. You ain't making no finals.
That's
You
two
ain't
people
Buddy,
that want to
shut
see
the
Pook.
hell.
Shut the hell
Wow.
up.
Okay.
Pook, that's
All right,
what
and
you
then
do.
obviously, Zombie, the final playoff matchup, yourself versus Zach. At the moment, Sleeper has you kind of getting taken behind the
You're
woodshed.
getting shit on, zombie.
Whoa,
Zach's
whoa.
team is looking pretty strong right now.
That's
So,
because of
shit on.
Charbonnet's projection.
I mean, even with that, let's say he
There's
had
a
about
chance
6
Walker
more
plays.
points. It's
You're
still
still
a
getting shit on.
13-point margin.
Zach is not hitting 135. I don't know even
Oh.
get what this projection is.
Okay. All
You want to
right.
bet?
So you're winning. I take it by making those comments.
Put in the chat,
Listen.
zombie. I'll bet that. Straight up, no odds.
Buddy, listen,
Put your money
I
where
may
your mouth
have
is.
gone on a losing streak, but that was just bullshit because I'm here to win another ring.
Mm.
You know,
I'm
like,
not
shit.
losing. Zach, shut the fuck up. You literally had Justin Tucker your whole fucking season.
He
missing
doesn't
six
have him
every-
anymore though against
You're
you.
getting shit on.
He's got a different.
Ah, he's got Daniel Carlson.
Slaps
Okay,
is a
so
better team than
Zombie,
you, Zombie.
everybody picked Zach. So please explain to me a little bit on
Wow.
how you're going.
Everybody.
Buddy, we're just
Well,
looking at the two teams that are in front of us.
They know
Zach,
your team is
I'm
shit.
sorry, but Zach's team, all his guys are trending upward or in great situations.
Your team's in trouble.
Chase Brown is getting the lion's share of PPR godness. Lamar Jackson runs and throws the ball like a fantasy god. Jonathan Taylor gets 20 plus carries a
Tyreek
week.
Hill was the
Tyreek
best pick
Hill
of the
just had
top
28 last week, is trending up. Sutton is the number one wide receiver on his
Tyreek.
team, popping off. Kelsey's Kelsey. I mean, he's been kind of mediocre some
Buddy.
weeks, but
You
Chuba
got
Hubbard
Mac
is
Jones,
now the
wide
star,
receiver.
is the clear running back now that Brooks is done. And Jerry Judy's been coming out of nowhere the last couple weeks. Meanwhile, we look at your team, and you got
Your team's
Sharp,
some
who
bums.
look
Who the
great,
fuck
but
is
is
that?
Kenneth Walker playing this week or not? That's a big question
He's
mark
not
for
playing.
you.
Okay, buddy.
We got
Ooh.
your two tight ends who worked last week,
Two
but are they
tight
both
ends?
going to work this week? And then Brian Thomas against the Jets. I mean, he's just a boomer bust player.
Mac
It's
Jones
just-
versus the Jets.
Yeah,
I
Mac
mean,
Jones.
this might not be my.
Well, yeah, we
final
kind of
starting
figured that, but I mean, if Brees Hall plays, I'm assuming you're playing Brees Hall, but who even knows what you're going to get out of Brees Hall at this point? I mean, he's kind of.
I have to see if
And then
Brees
Neighbors
doesn't
would be
matter
good
who you
against
play, buddy.
Baltimore if you didn't have fucking Tommy DeVito throwing him the ball. It's just a horrible situation. So that's why we all pick Zach. Is his team is way more clear, great situations for his players.
Buddy,
And you got question
listen,
mark. And Herbert, you really think Herbert's going to outscore Lamar Jackson?
Lamar.
buddy, Lamar is just gonna hand it off to Henry the whole game because it's the
Okay,
Giants.
All right,
Okay.
buddy.
Chase
This is a-
Brown,
this is a
okay, he
Lamar
might
game.
put up some points.
Oh, wait.
Jonathan Taylor had one good game.
Zombie,
He's been
predict all
mid.
the all,
Buddy, your whole
predict
He's
all
doing
the
it right
scores
now.
right
Let him finish.
all the score. No, like the actual score.
He doesn't
I
have to
wanna
predict
hear-
the scores.
What?
He's telling you what he thinks. He thinks Lamar's not going to
Shut
put
the
up that
fuck up.
much.
You're gonna be one and done, buddy.
He thinks Chase
You're gonna
Brown's
be
going to
one
put
and
up a
done, bitch.
decent amount. He thinks Taylor's not going to put up a lot. All right, keep going.
Taylor's not gonna do shit.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, he's not gonna.
You're
Wait,
Oni,
limited.
bitch.
Tyreek Hill might have a good game, but
Like-
Sutton is
Okay.
gonna come back down this week.
Okay.
He's got both.
Kelsey,
He's got that guy
he's
thrown at him.
gonna be mid like he usually's been.
He's back. Kelsey is back.
Chuba,
Against
it's
Dallas.
He could.
Yeah.
He's the only running back.
Yeah, that could be good. Judy's not gonna
Yeah,
do
he's
shit
all over.
against KC.
Whoa,
Okay.
Judy is on fire.
All right, so you
All
said
the
about
passes are
half.
gonna go to
So,
Njoku.
but you admitted there was at
Okay,
least
buddy.
like 4 players on his team you said
Let's hear your
are
team,
gonna
Zombie.
do good. So now on your side, tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah, my
Dog shit.
boy Herb's gonna cook Tampa Bay.
10 to
Isn't he
15
a little
points.
banged up?
Charbonnet is gonna put up 40
He
again.
didn't practice on Wednesday.
40. You're drunk. You won't even put up 15.
Aaron Jones plays the Bears. That's an easy matchup.
5.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp is gonna cook the 49ers.
Out injured in the
Okay.
first quarter.
Drake London's gonna
That's a
cook
good
the
matchup.
fucking
You got
Raiders.
Kirk Cousins throwing to him. He's thrown 8 interceptions in his past 4 games.
Listen, Jonnu Smith is cooking.
Okay.
You got
been cooking.
Tyreek and Waddle on the same team.
So he's
buddy.
gonna be the one
Tyreek
catching
is
the
so
touchdowns, not
He
Hill.
ain't catching shit.
Okay.
He couldn't even catch a cold during
And
COVID.
So your whole team's
And-
cooking. Why do we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Real
Jesus
quickly,
Christ.
Zombie. I think your best
Listen.
hope is that Brees Hall plays. Kenneth Walker's out. You get Jonnu Smith to outscore
If Hall
Tyreek Hill.
plays, I'll start
and
3
Drake-
running backs.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And then you gotta hope Jonnu Smith outscores Tyreek Hill, and Drake London has a huge game on Monday Night Football, and you get 20 plus points from Cooper Kupp tomorrow.
Listen,
if all that
I'll give
happens, I
credit-
think you win. But I don't
Listen,
think all
I'll
that's
give
gonna
credit to Zach. He has a better team than Fake Rat.
happen. Oh,
Whoa.
okay.
This guy loves Kevin Bush, huh?
All right.
So,
Should've never
uh,
got
this
rid
is
of
what I
Zombie-
would say.
buddy.
This game is gonna be close.
Okay.
But
It ain't gonna be
I'm,
close, buddy.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
pull
win.
it off on
Okay.
a Monday night
Can I say something?
winner.
All
Look
right.
at this
Hold
comment.
on, real quickly. We asked everybody else, are you happy with the side of the bracket you're on, or would you rather be on the bottom half of the bracket?
Wait, I play cheese next round.
Yes, you will play cheese in the second round after. If
You
you beat
don't
You
if
ain't
you don't
playing
win,
cheese
buddy.
in the second round, buddy.
Listen, we're not scared of cheese.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Be scared of Zach.
All right. So you think the stronger teams are on the bottom side of the bracket, so you're happier on the top.
Yes, Pusa,
Let me tell you
Pook.
something here, buddy.
not Fake Rat.
Let me tell you something,
All
Zombie.
right, Zombie, you're gonna be scared me. And fucking Ben Johnson
Let me
has
talk.
Jameer Gibbs throwing
Zombie.
touchdowns to Dave Montgomery, buddy.
Zombie,
you're
it's
gonna be
Shut
scared.
time.
up, shut up, cheese. Don't tell him that. I'm facing you that, buddy. I'm facing you next.
Zombie.
Okay.
If
Your
Zach
Your
faces me,
fantasy
if Zach
season
faces
will
me,
be
I
Hold
will
on,
over.
let
pick up
Rat
Justin
talk.
Tucker.
Let Rat talk.
Your fantasy
If
season
Zach
will be over
wins, I
this
will pick up
week.
Justin
Cheese,
Tucker.
Jeez,
shut the
let
fuck
Rat
up.
talk.
Fuck you, cheese. You're not doing
Zombie, your fantasy season's over. You will be picking up extra shifts at the hotel. Make sure you call your boss that your season's over because you are complete dog shit. And you only made
Oh.
it because you faced Bill the last week of
You
the
know what,
season.
Zombie? I will give you
You
credit.
should not
Hold
be
on,
here.
Zombie.
Whoa.
I'm gonna give you credit,
You should
Zombie.
not be here.
This is
Whoa,
the first
Zombie.
fantasy season where you've actually had a job and you still made the playoffs. So it didn't
Wow.
You
detract
should
from you
not
making
be
the- I
there.
will give you credit on that, Zombie.
You faced Bill, the worst possible fantasy
Hey,
lineup
you can
we've
only
ever
play who's
seen.
on your schedule. You can't.
Big
You
Rat.
got
can't
Bill.
control- Everybody got to play Bill at least once, so you can't control.
Yeah, I made the playoffs and I wasn't a pussy who needed a trade for their players. I basically
Ooh.
have my whole team that I drafted.
I mean, you did make a few trades, didn't you?
Like, just when I need a quarterback.
How are you
like,
talking about
I've
trades, but
drafted.
you're
him,
talking about
always.
Charbonnet dropping 40 points, acting like you didn't trade for him?
And
What are you
Buddy,
talking about,
Because
buddy?
I traded,
small one.
buddy.
You did trade
Buddy
Jennings,
me.
though.
Don't
made
show up to the
small.
show once every 3 weeks. It's fucking Buddy me.
Whoa.
Your team's
Okay.
fucking falling apart. You're
All right.
beating
Well,
Zach by
listen. If we
35.
don't get a Zach versus Pook final, I hope we get a Zombie
Buddy,
versus Rat final then.
I will be here next week when I win and you lose.
You can't
Oh,
what?
gonna
Okay,
be
buddy.
like,
okay. Well, we'll
we're
see.
gonna be making fun of
All
you,
right.
buddy.
Well, we will see
I
if that
can't wait to
comes
see
through.
you
Your
here
team name
next week
fits
when
you,
you
Zombie.
lose, buddy.
Yeah, here we don't
I
go,
can't
buddy,
wait
because
to
you're
see
not
you
going
next week
anywhere,
when
buddy.
you lose.
You're going the same place that Dak Prescott the fucking end of the season, buddy.
All right. So let's end off the show here with a full playoff prediction. Let me pull up here the bracket again. Let's predict the whole thing from start to finish. Obviously, we predict these first round matchups, but let's go even further. We will do a show next week for the semifinals, and that will be the last show of the season. We won't do a show for just the one final matchup. So we will do one next week, and we'll see what all these predictions come true or not. We'll see if Rat's team season's over and Zombie's season is still alive. I don't know about that. I will start first since I'm not in the playoffs, as Zach's mentioned 6 times today. I am going to say Zach beats Zombie. Sorry, Zombie. And faces Cheese. I am going to say that Zach beats Cheese. As I said earlier, I think this is kind of a role reversal last year where Rat was the bye team feeling really good. I think Cheese is that now. And then I think Zach has a lot of similarity to Cheese's team of last year when he knocked off Rat and went to the final. So I'm going to say Zach makes it to the final. On the bottom side of the bracket, I think it's pretty tight. I'm going to say... Obviously, my bias is talking, and I'm saying Slaps will beat Pusa in a historic upset this week and save me my money. And then I'm going to say that Rat beats Pook in a very close one this week. So it's then Rat versus Slaps. And then I'm going to say that Rat beats Slaps. So we have a Zach versus Rat final. And I'm going to say that Rat beats Zach in the final.
I knew that was coming, buddy. I knew that
No
was
fucking
coming.
shot.
He's just saying that because I tell him to miss out on the playoffs. Okay, buddy.
All right, that's my prediction.
I'll go the same way there.
Cheese?
I'll go. Let me.
Oh, Rat?
No,
Okay,
buddy.
you want to
No,
go?
buddy.
Go
Shut the
ahead.
fuck up,
Cheese.
Rat.
No, Cheese. Shut the fuck
No,
up.
Rat,
You
buddy.
go
talk
ahead.
back.
Buddy.
Rat,
Buddy,
go
you
ahead.
have to wait next round. You're not even here yet. So wait. We're the
Fine,
ones
fine.
talking, buddy. Shut your ass up.
Oh,
Zach is going to
buddy.
smoke Zombie by 55 to start shit.
Okay.
Pusa will beat Slaps. I will face Little Pusa in the second round. Little Pusa's going down.
Oh,
Cheese
okay.
versus Zach is going to be very, very, very close by like a 1 to 2 point game. We don't even know the matchups right now, but I'm going to be facing my boy Zach in the finals, and I'm going to take him down.
Okay.
I'm not your boy,
Way
bitch.
to copy the guy. It's always your boy when you're trying to be nice to a team.
My buddy. There you go.
All right, Cheese, your prediction.
Okay, buddy. I'm gonna start at the bottom.
Okay.
It's gonna be Rat versus Pusa. Okay, and it's gonna be a battle of the AIDS. And Pusa is gonna cry and bitch his way to the finals.
Oh God! Don't say
No
that. I
way.
can't stand
No.
Pusa in the final. I'd
And
be
then the
sweating.
top half of the
No.
bracket, I'm gonna overtake Zach in a close one.
Okay.
You know,
buddy.
Lee Marr is gonna fucking shit his pants against the Steelers. Okay, figuratively
He did
and
that
literally.
earlier. He already did that once this
He's
season.
gonna actually shit his pants, so
Fuck
he's gonna
you.
go to the locker room.
Too
And
soon.
then the finals, Pusa's gonna be like all smug and mighty, and then his team will just
Go
all get
on,
hurt.
Cheese. If that's the
and
final, I will be rooting for you
demolish
hard.
him. Realistically, me or Zach is winning. No one else has a chance.
Okay.
Top half of the bracket is winning.
Wow. All right. Strong comment there. All right, Zombie. Let's hear your bracket, buddy.
Get batteries died.
Did Zombie leave again? Jesus. I should have did him first. Then.
Cheese.
All right, Zach.
what's I gonna say?
We know who you're saying, right? But
Pook all the way through.
okay.
Me, I easily beat Zombie. I beat Cheese
Okay.
handily. I go
So-
through to Pook, and
Yeah.
I it'll be a battle, but I will finally overcome.
Oh, so let me ask you this. Based on your record versus Pook lifetime, you should not want that as your championship matchup. But
You
do
mean
you
Pook?
want that because you want to overcome your demons of Pook
All
in the
the other
biggest
losses
stage?
will never matter when I beat him in the final.
Okay, I like that. I like that then. I like that prediction. So you want
Ring,
to
bitch.
face your demons head
Let
on
me
in the
tell Cheese
biggest moment.
something. Cheese doesn't want AIDS. There's only like one person not getting AIDS, and that's fucking Slaps. You're getting AIDS from everybody, buddy. Be ready.
Yeah,
Whoever you're
and
playing.
I would, if you didn't want AIDS, I would not
I
announce on a
don't,
fantasy show to
buddy.
everybody that you don't want
Oh,
AIDS.
If
They're
buddy,
just
I'm
gonna
hitting
be
up my
bored.
boy
I'm
buddy.
Ernie
not,
now.
buddy.
So
I'm
Buddy.
hitting up my boy Ernie.
Buddy, Zach's gonna forget it, buddy.
I will
Zach's
release
gonna, like,
files of you, buddy, if I make it to the
Files?
final versus you, buddy.
Oh.
I will see you,
All right,
buddy.
well then
if
I'm
I
hoping for
Zach,
Cheese
Brad, you
versus
lose
Rat.
against me every time, but yeah.
Jeez, you
Well,
were
apparently
not
Ernie
putting
has
it down,
files
buddy.
on Rat as well. The other day I
Whoa!
heard that, so
Oh.
it's a shame Ernie's not in the playoffs, so he could release those files.
Listen,
Well,
Oh, Zombie,
now
you're
there's-
back. All right, let's hear
speaking
your
of Zombie.
your whole playoff bracket, Zombie.
listen. I'm gonna beat Zach,
Yep.
Okay, buddy. No, you
Okay.
ain't. Put some money on him, buddy.
and then and Poos
You're
is
gonna
gonna
beat
beat
Cheese.
Slaps.
Okay.
Or yeah, Poos is gonna be Slaps, and Pook's gonna be Rat.
Mhm.
Oh,
Then I got Poosa beating
Oh
Pook.
God, don't tell me. I can't handle Pusa in the final.
no shot.
Oh, yeah.
No
And
shot.
then I will be beating Cheese's bitch ass. Cheese's
No,
team's
you're
gonna come
not.
down to earth.
Let me tell you right
buddy.
now, if it's you versus Pusa in the final, I am fucked. I am so fucked. I'll be asking for a buyout from Pusa if it's you versus Pusa in the final.
I'm
Don't
telling
worry,
you right
Golfer,
now,
he ain't
the
making
only
it past the
person
first
that
round.
is not allowed, two people are not allowed to win, and that's fucking Cheese, because I can't stand this guy anymore, and fucking Zombie.
Well, Cheese
Cheese is
has the current ring and trophy, so
Cheese is the cockiest son of a bitch, because he's finally doing something right in his
Buddy,
life for
Pook
once.
literally told you that.
Wow.
26 years later.
Okay, buddy,
Uh-huh.
I'm
Didn't Pook
26
just talk
yet.
shit to you this week about about
Zombie,
your
go to
matchup?
work, buddy.
Oh.
Buddy, I'm taking the week off. I'll check in next week.
Yeah, the Cheese has that luxury
Oh,
of
okay.
I'll check
not
in
having to
next
worry
week.
about. He's letting all you AIDS guys all battle it out. So that
Well,
is
be
the
ready,
one
because
advantage.
Zach's bringing the news, buddy.
The ideal scenarios next
Oh,
week is
buddy.
it's Slaps versus Rat and me versus Zombie.
Ooh,
Okay,
you
buddy.
say that's the weakest teams, huh?
That would be the best
We'll see
scenario.
it, buddy.
All right. And then what? Slap somehow makes it to the final versus you?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
break his heart.
Could you imagine Slaps if he somehow made it to the final?
And then if Slaps won, I wouldn't even be
It
mad.
truly would be the greatest comeback story in fantasy football history if he somehow kept
If
winning.
Slap thinks I'm
made it
going
to
to
the
say,
Pusa
final.
might kill himself that
look,
happens.
if Slaps wins the final, we are deleting.
Come
every
on,
bot
Slaps!
that
I
have
believe in you,
all-
lad. You can make this stream run. Don't
Jesus.
stop giving
all
up.
those clips of me
Slaps,
talking
Slaps!
shit about
You didn't
Slaps
give.
better be deleted.
Slaps,
if
you
Slaps wins
slaps,
the
you
final,
didn't
we're
give
playing
up.
that rant.
You didn't give up way back in the season when you were. Oh wait, you did give up because you gave a 30-minute
We're
rant on the
playing
show
that
about
rant
how your
every
team was
show.
shit and it was over.
If you
So you
win.
did give up, but then you re-believed once you started winning a couple
Look, from
games.
week
of course. So
from
keep
week
on going.
2 to week 8, I shit on Slaps the most.
Yeah.
If Slaps
And
wins,
you're
I
still
would
shitting
not
on him
be,
now.
I would not be able to handle that. There's like he.
Yeah, imagine if he beat you in the semifinal to go to the
I
final.
don't know what I would do.
Oh, I kind of hope that happens.
I'm rooting for Pusa.
You know what? I might have to change my pick. I had Rat versus
I
Zach
wanna
in the
put-
final. I might have to say that Slaps beats Rat in the second round to go to
Well,
the
and then
final.
does Slaps beat Zach?
No, fuck no. All right, so there are the predictions. We will catch everything back next week for the final show of this season next week, where we will take a look at what happened in the round 1 of the playoffs and look then ahead to round semifinal week. Good luck to everybody in the playoffs. Make sure you keep an eye on those
Possibly.
lineups. Don't oversleep as we had last year. If
I
you
will
do
buy
have
Puka
some
an alarm
questionable
clock.
players in your lineup, aka Zombie, make sure you set an
Oh.
alarm so you can set the
Oh.
right players in.
I will
Possibly
buy
the
Puka an alarm clock.
series finale of my rank.
Buddy,
Yes,
listen,
it's
I might go all the way with double tight end and
Oh.
destroy that
Oh,
jinx.
God,
that
get
that
off
curse.
my
I mean,
screen,
it's
Zombie.
kind of been debunked this year with the
Get
two
off my
flexes.
screen,
but-
Zombie. Get off my screen.
All right, good luck to everybody. We'll catch you back next week.